This is Sam Goldwyn in Hollywood.
This is Vivien Leigh in London.
This is Ken Tynan in New York.
This is Small World, and this is Ed Murrow in New York. Good evening. Tonight on Small World, the world of motion pictures. From London, one of the greatest actresses of our time, Vivien Leigh Olivier. Miss Leigh won an Oscar in 1938 for her Scarlett O'Hara, another one in 1951 for Streetcar Named Desire, and all kinds of awards for her stage portrayal of Cleopatra. Miss Leigh is talking to us from her apartment in London. Good evening, Grandma.
Good evening, and thank you.
And from Hollywood, a man who had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning in order to be with Miss Leigh. Mr. Samuel Goldwyn, a pioneer and a giant, who gave us Dodsworth, Wuthering Heights, Best Years of Our Life, but whose greatest picture is always the next one, which in this case is Porgy and Bess. And from New York, a young Englishman who, if not angry, is at least opinionated, Kenneth Tynan, drama critic of the London Observer, now on loan to the New Yorker magazine for a one-year hitch. Mr. Tynan, I think I should warn you that Mr. Goldwyn is not always enthusiastic about the critiques that appear in the New Yorker.
I have great respect for the New Yorker. I think it's one of the fine magazines that's come out in my time. But I do not quite agree with the criticism that the New Yorkers are writing. As a matter of fact, I heard about your review yesterday in the New Yorker of Rodgers and Hammerstein's show, a Japanese girl playing a Chinese girl. You took exception to that. Well, since we're talking about Miss Leigh, I always like to talk about her anyway. She played the Southern Belle in 2 pictures she was in. And that was, what was the name of the first play that she gave that great performance, and she won that was a picture Selznick did with her.
Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind.
Gone with something.
And she won an Oscar. She distinguished herself again when she played, which she did a wonderful job in Streetcar called Desire, also a Southern Belle. I always refer to her as a belle anyway. And tell me, how do you account for your criticism of Japanese girls playing Chinese girls, or Chinese girl playing Japanese girls? What has that got to do with it?
Well, I think if you're going to present the Chinese people authentically, and as they ought to be presented on a stage, you've got to pay some kind of respect to their origins and their culture, their appearance, and get a kind of authenticity that I felt didn't exist in that show, because there are differences of background and temperament between Chinese and Japanese, which are tremendously marked.
Ken, you might as well say that no English actor should play in a Chekhov play or in an Ibsen play.
If the entire cast's English or German, okay.
But what does it matter if they're artists? But does it matter very much if they know what they're doing?
Atmosphere is completely destroyed by this sort of lack of homogeneity, you know.
By the way, you know, I was the only English member of the cast of Streetcar, and that didn't seem to make very much difference.
Well, it did to me, honestly, dear, because of that. I mean, an entirely English cast, splendid, but you did, at least to an untrained ear such as mine, stick out a little bit as being not quite in the same style as the other people in the film.
Well, I have to try again and get better, that's all.
Mr. Tynan, whom I have great respect for, how is it that about 300 million people all over the world saw Gone with the Wind, and she received Oscars all around the place?
Wonderful film.
How is it that they liked her in the role?
Oh, I don't think I was intending that, Mr. Goldwyn. I was saying, in a film of that kind, I think she was marvelous. I thought Vivian was absolutely perfect in that, because, as I said, it's sort of set in the past and in a costume picture. I think that kind of thing is absolutely okay.
I think truth is the keynote of all acting or of all artists. And I don't really understand what Ken's saying, because I don't think you would call it a stylized film in any way. It's not like an 18th century comedy, for instance. It was a perfectly human story, and as modern as they come, really. The fact that you wear a costume doesn't make any difference to your mind. And if your mind is truthfully playing the character you're supposed to be playing, the costumes and whether you have a fan in your hand or anything, it doesn't make any difference at all.
Isn't there something, though, in those two parts, Vivian, the streetcar part and the Scarlett O'Hara one, didn't they both have this strange quality of vulnerableness? You know, girls who were easily breakable, who were suffering terribly.
Sorry, Ken. I think they were entirely different people.
But I mean,
it seemed to
didn't
me
they have that in common? These were girls that were going to be, you know, knocked around by all kinds of agonies and...
Oh, knocked around is one thing. I think they were both knocked around quite a bit, but one overcame the knocking around and the other one succumbed.
Yes.
And therefore they were innately different, it seemed to me. But then the only interesting thing, I think, is to play as many different things as possible. I think typecasting and type acting is one of the menaces, really, because you get used to what somebody's going to do, and then it holds no surprise for you. And if you're not going to be surprised in life, it's a pity, I think.
Why do you think you get cast so often as Southern Belles, Vivian?
I can't imagine. I must have lived there in some incarnation or ever, or something, you know. I really don't know. Only twice, you know.
Yeah.
Only twice in, how many years? 20? So that's not many.
Miss Leigh mentioned typecasting, which of course is a product of the star system. And I suppose one reason that she has not been typed is the fact that she is a genuine actress as well as a star.
Isn't the definition of a star, though, Vivian, a girl who can stare into a camera and convince every man out there that she needs him and cannot exist without him?
Well, no, I don't think that applies entirely. She may think she wants to say that to everybody, men, women, and children. I don't think men are all that important.
But isn't there a special kind of hungering, yearning, needing expression which the Garbo had, which Marlene Dietrich has, and I also think you have it, this sort of look of unutterable need, and everybody in the audience feels, my goodness, she needs me.
My goodness, Ken, I think that a certain waif-like, if you like, I don't mean waif-like, but I think people shouldn't appear too sure of themselves, because they probably aren't, as a rule. Is that what you mean?
Yes, but I mean, is there anything else which differentiates star quality from ordinary competence?
I haven't the faintest idea. I only know that a star to me is somebody who makes me feel that I don't understand quite what they're doing, but I feel there's a sort of magic about it. I don't know what it is. Garbo certainly had it, and to me, Brigitte Bardot has it.
Now, Sam, Ken Tynan started a considerable controversy in Europe when he said that the drama as an art form had to be concerned with politics. How do you feel about that?
How do I feel about it?
Yes.
I think the duty of a producer is to produce plays or pictures that the public will enjoy when they go into the theater. I think politics is a documentary problem. I do believe this, that when you leave the theater, you have to carry away something with you that is close to people's heart, that touches on their daily life, and they understand the characters. But I do not agree with Mr. Tynan at all, that politics, every time anyone has tried to do that in a picture or a play, they usually came out so that they couldn't pay their payrolls every week.
Can I comment on that, Ed?
Please do.
When I say that art ought to be, in some way, a political activity, what I mean is that it can't help it. Every act that anybody performs has some kind of a political repercussion. And any film, whether it's a trivial comedy or a historical epic, is in some way connected with the political activity of that country. Now, if you make a film, for instance, in which Negroes are presented not as a different kind of person, but just an ordinary person like everybody else, that is a social act, and it will have all kinds of political repercussions. Now, in a film like Gone with the Wind, the aristocratic Old South is the subject. Certain aspects of it were omitted, others emphasized. And in those emphases, in those omissions, politics express themselves. Politics are how we organize ourselves, and in every form of expression, in every art, every word we utter, in some way contributes to the political scene. You can't keep out of it.
Mr. Tynan, when I got the idea of doing the best years of our life, from what I understand you liked,
Yes, tremendous.
I did not think of politics. I only thought of what's going to happen to these people when they return from the war, the disabled veterans, and so on and so forth. I never injected politics in.
But it did explain to you how American society worked. And that was a tremendously important thing.
Miss Leigh, do you think movies, or for that matter the theater, ought to have a point of view?
I do.
Well, this had a point of view.
I do. In fact, I agree with Ken that they have a point of view whether they really want to or not, because any good playwright cannot help being taken up with the way the world is going. And I suppose politics come into that. I know nothing about politics, and I don't think I like them at all. But I think that the social conditions in every country are bound to come into any play of any interest. Whether it's brought in or not, pure propaganda, I naturally don't like, because I think it's always pretty dull. But I think it comes into any play or any movie, whether that movie sets out to put it in or not. Because I think any dramatist of any stature naturally deals with the world as he sees it.
Now, Mr. Goldwyn,
Yes.
didn't you have a point of view when you decided to do Porgy and Bess?
Yes. I felt that this was, to begin with, the first great American opera that was written. And secondly, I wanted the public to see the Negroes as they are.
I should have said it simply showed him as he used to be. And I would have thought that in spite of your obviously sincere beliefs that politics hasn't any place in the industry, I think you will find, and perhaps have found, that a great many people will interpret your film in social or political terms.
No.
You see, it shows us Negroes as downtrodden, dope fiends. It's a very slanted and unfair picture of colored activities.
I beg your pardon. No, I don't. I am sorry. First of all, my story is laid in the period of 1900 as it was written. Secondly, you might as well say that the public today do not understand Shakespeare or some of the great things that have been written in the past 100 or 200 years. I cannot agree with that at all. I think the idea is to lead them into that period and stick to the period and don't get out of it. And I think you have a chance to succeed.
Somebody remarked to me the other day, perhaps a little unjustly, I see that Uncle Sam is about to give us Uncle Tom. Now that may be going a bit too far, but perhaps not a great deal too far.
Mr. Tynan, it's the charming, it's the naive of the Negro in that period that makes this almost a fantasy. But a fantasy must have a certain sense of reality. And I don't think politics or anything that you're talking about had anything to do with that play whatsoever. The idea is to do it better, and the screen has greater opportunity than the stage has. And especially when I did this picture in Tareo, which has 6 soundtracks, and Mr. Ira Gershwin sat in the projecting room, and I showed him some of it in Tareo. And the remark he made was, I only wish that George was alive and he could hear this music, his music, played on 6 tracks. Now, and see the people.
Yes, Miss Leigh.
Please, Mr. Goldwyn just said something that I don't agree with at all, because he says that the pictures can do something better. I think they can do it differently, but it doesn't necessarily mean better. I don't agree with that at all. They just do it in a different way.
Well, making a movie out of an opera like Porgy and Bess is certainly different. It'll be interesting to see whether it's better.
People have been afraid in our business to do opera, but I felt it's a contribution I'd like to make, because this business has been very good to me, and I felt I owed them something. So I spent about $7-8 million, and I have to get back about 16 million to break even, in order to prove that it can be done successfully, and it can be better than what the stage has done. And I am hoping that the public will agree with me. And if they don't agree with me, it'll be just too bad for Goldwyn.
Now, Sam, are you going to
As a matter of fact, when I produce a picture, I don't usually worry how it's going to be a box office success or not, because the minute anyone starts making a picture and things at the box office, they're 90% a failure before they start.
This little motion picture starring Samuel Goldwyn, Vivien Leigh, and Kenneth Tynan will continue immediately after this word from Olin Matheson.
Now, back to Edward R. Murrow and Small World.
Go ahead, Mr. Tynan.
Are you ever embarrassed, Mr. Goldwyn, when the artistic success of your films is ascribed not to the director or the author or the star, but to you yourself, who really haven't taken an active, creative role in the picture? I've seen a great many films coming out of all kinds of other countries, Italy, France, even your own country, Mr. Goldwyn, Poland. And especially out of your own country, the films nowadays are absolutely fantastically good. And still, I don't think I could name for you who produced any of these films, Italian or French or Polish. Nobody seems to care about that job, whereas here it's the absolute top. But I can't think of any other country where it is Samuel Goldwyn presents.
I agree with you, and I know that some very brilliant pictures come out of France, come out of England, come out of Russia. I see most of them. As a matter of fact, I'm seeing one tonight.
But Sam, Mr. Tynan's question was, why is it that the producer in this country got so much more public credit than he does in foreign countries?
My dear fellow, I can only talk about myself at this point. I've been at it for 47 years. I started when there were pictures ran 10 minutes.
And now they run 10 hours.
Unfortunately, they remember me, that's all. People are known by the work they do.
We've got one pretty good producer in England who's been heard of, it seems to me, Ken. And his name is Laurence Olivier.
Oh, yes. Pretty good director, too.
Brilliant. I consider Larry a great producer. I consider him one of the great actors we have in present generation. I have great respect for him. But how many are there? Chaplin was one of them. And you may find one or two more. But how many actors are really producers?
Orson Welles.
Very good.
Orson Welles, unfortunately, has not proven successful in that direction.
I disagree with you totally.
But how many actors are really producers?
Orson Welles.
Very good.
Orson Welles, unfortunately, has not proven successful in that direction.
I disagree with you totally.
Mr. G.
I think The Magnificent Amazons and Citizen Kane were two of the finest pictures I've ever seen. I saw The Magnificent Amazons again the other day, and it seemed to me to be by far one of the most wonderful pictures I've ever seen in my life.
I happen to like Orson tremendously.
Who wouldn't?
I think Orson Welles is a very brilliant director. There's
And
only one
actor.
fault I find with Orson Welles, and I have told him so many times. He thinks he's a writer. He is not a writer.
I think
And
he
I
is.
don't care how good a
disagree.
producer he is or director. He must respect
He
the
does
story.
everything. I think he's a wonderful writer. He
I never can agree with you
Never.
never can I agree with you on that point at all, because I know him, I watched his career. I
Well,
know,
then we must beg to differ.
Would you employ Orson Welles, Mr. Goldwyn, as a director?
yes, as a director, but not as a writer.
But do you agree? But Sam, do you agree that The Magnificent Amazons was a very finely written and directed picture? Because
Yes.
I believe Orson did both.
Yes, I do.
Do you agree?
I do.
Ah, that's
But you
good.
cannot live on that for 20 years. You see, no one is perfect, but you must have a better average than Orson Welles has had.
I think the peaks that he's reached are worth a lot of other mediocre peaks that other people have reached.
Could we change for a moment from Orson Welles to Mr. Goldwyn? I was reading the other day something that was written in 1940. about Mr. Goldwyn, and I noticed that it was said Hollywood is today the motion picture capital of the world. And the principal reason is that a man named Sam Goldwyn lives here. Well, today Hollywood is no longer the motion picture capital of the world as it once was. You've all said this. What went wrong?
I am not defending Hollywood, all of Hollywood's pictures, but I do say this to you, that right now, as we stand today, Hollywood pictures are more popular throughout the world than any other country. The chances are they may beat us unless we improve, and we are on the way to improving. If you look what's happened the last 2 or 3 years, they are going in that direction, to make fewer pictures and make better pictures, because they found out that the public will just not come and support them.
Well, I was simply thinking that if Hollywood sort of lost its control of the movie houses, isn't it because people who came over from Germany and from other parts of the continent in the 20s, people like Billy Wilder, Fritz Lang, that kind of person. Now, Hollywood seems to have stopped importing these enormously talented people. Could it perhaps be that the talented Germans and Hungarians and Italians nowadays prefer to stay at home, where perhaps they can operate with a little more
freedom?
Yes.
I don't know what you mean by freedom. Some people, Laurence Olivier doesn't need any freedom because he has freedom in his heart.
He certainly does, and he demands it, old boy.
He has freedom in his heart,
You're
and he
wrong there.
knows how to use his freedom.
Sam?
The thing to
Sam?
do, yeah.
You're wrong there. He demands all the freedom in the world, and he gets it.
I say,
I'm
but
happy
he's
to
an
say-
exception. There are just
Except,
a few.
of course, that he didn't get the freedom to do Macbeth, which was a great shame and a pity and a disgrace.
Speaking for myself again, I am not yet ready to shove under the doors $6 or $7 million or $3 million or $2 million and go away fishing.
Mr. Goldwyn, this talk about shoving $6 million under the door and going fishing, I'm not quite clear what you sort of
I
mean by
didn't get
that.
that, I'm afraid.
May I clarify that point? There are two kinds of producers. One is, as Mr. Tynan said, an organizer, and the other really is a producer. I do a great many things myself that others leave to the director. And the chances are, I may be wrong, but nevertheless, I've been here for 46 years, and I'm still working and still doing all right. But I never give the final word to anyone but the Goldwyn. And I shall continue to do that, and when the day comes when I cannot get away with it, I'm going to stop making pictures.
Well, that won't be for a long time, I hope.
Mr.
Sam.
Goldwyn, I should have thought, in a way, that sort of overall control by one man in some way impeded the liberty of the artists concerned.
You might as well say that about Cecil DeMille. No one likes Cecil DeMille's pictures in Hollywood, but the public, or critics, they don't like it, but the public seems to like them. And after all, the public, they have the final word about anyone. So and I make myself clear now.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Tynan?
Oh, yes, but I would be very interested to hear Mr. Goldwyn on the question of if anybody will be seeing Mr. DeMille's pictures in, say, 50 years' time. I mean, millions of people are seeing them all over the world now, but I mean, will they last? As, for instance, Citizen Kane will last.
May I answer that? He produced a picture of 30 years ago. It was a biblical picture. The king...
Sign of the Cross.
I forgot the name of the picture.
Sign of the Cross, I
Sign of
think.
the Cross. No, there's not the Sign of the
Ten
Cross.
Commandments.
The King of Kings.
Oh.
Mr. Tynan, it's still being shown all over the world.
Really?
His
In
pictures...
outlying islands in the South Pacific?
pictures lived with the public. Some pictures he made were not as good as others, and that applies to every writer, every director, every producer. None of us can hit 100%.
Anybody else's picture's going to live?
I think Wuthering Heights is going to live as long as I live.
So do I.
And some of the best years of our lives are Gone with the Wind, or any of the outstanding pictures will live. Some of Shakespeare's plays live.
Oh, I think they live, don't you?
Shakespeare's
They've
plays.
done it for so long.
Shakespeare's plays and some of your films and anything else, Mr. Goldwyn. What else will live?
Don't Shakespeare's thing live, have lived for 100 years or more? Great things live, and the bad things die. It's the same, a man or woman, when they have bad health, they die.
Our time is up. But I would guess that the movies and the theater will remain healthy so long as we have producers like Goldwyn, actresses like Vivien Leigh, and critics like Ken Tynan. Next week's guests in just a moment. Next week on Small World, Madame Callas from Milan, Sir Thomas Beecham from Nice, and Victor Borge from Connecticut. Good night and good luck.
Remember, Sir Thomas Beecham from Nice, Victor Borge from Connecticut, and Maria Callas from Milan next week, when Small World will be brought to you again by Olin Matheson.